Thank you, Mr.
Assembly Member.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I am pleased to present AB 1530 and would like to start off by thanking the committee staff for their hard work and by accepting the amendments in the analysis and negotiated with the committee. AB 1530 addresses our state's energy and environmental goals by expanding on current policy that allows California energy consumers to purchase and operate clean on-site generation. This is done while at the same time shielding consumers from inappropriate utility fees that would otherwise be assessed on power generated on-site. This legislation will also help to promote the adoption of distributed generation technologies that will confer real environmental benefits. AB 1530 requires that technologies meet standards for greenhouse gas emissions set by the experts at the Air Resources Board in collaboration with the California Energy Commission. These standards will adjust annually to keep up with a grid that will continue to progress under California's environmentally minded energy policies. Equally important, these technologies must meet standards for emissions of criteria, air pollutants, that can lead to both climate effects and severe public health impacts. All available tools should be deployed to address both GHG and criteria air pollutant emissions across the state. Just last year, California passed landmark legislation requiring the state to generate 50% of its electricity from renewables by 2030. AB 1530 continues SB 350's goals. The increased deployment of clean distributed generation technologies that will result from this bill will complement the state's RPS target to further decrease the environmental impact of the energy sector. Here with me today to testify in support of the bill are Andrea DeVoe, the Executive Director of TechNet, Sylvia Solis-Shaw of Advanced Energy Economy, and Dr. Adam Simpson, the co-founder of Edigen.
Good morning, Chairman and Committee. My name is Andrea DeVoe, and I'm here today on behalf of TechNet, who represents both innovative technology companies and their customers. We are pleased to support and sponsor Assembly Bill 1530, which extends existing law protecting customers from having to pay utility fees assessed on clean energy generated and consumed on-site, and expands this protection to enable larger, clean, on-site energy projects and a wider technology-neutral array of clean technologies. This important legislation will allow clean distributed generation technology companies and their customers to support California's aggressive clean energy and broader environmental goals. We thank Assemblymember Levine for his leadership on this issue. TechNet supports this bill for 3 reasons. First, it supports innovative clean technologies. Second, it encourages a shift in the monopolistic utility model while still recognizing their role. Third, importantly, it encourages customer participation in California's clean energy future. To touch on the first point, this bill supports the innovation economy that is critical to California's 21st century workforce by encouraging and enabling customers to choose a clean on-site generation technology to meet their energy needs, and thereby support some of California's most forward-thinking clean technology companies. Second, by providing equitable treatment for clean distributed generation through a no-use, no-fee policy, this legislation reduces barriers to customer adoption and investment in these technologies, facilitates broader deployment, and represents a paradigm shift to a more reliable distributed grid. Customers that use proven, reliable on-site generation should only pay for services proportional to the need for their service. To be clear, these customers will still be utility customers. They will pay utility fees on all energy delivered by the utility, ensuring that utilities are compensated for their investment and any generation consumed by the customer. And third, customer participation. Commercial and industrial customers are willing to invest their own capital to install clean on-site generation technologies. They should not be unfairly assessed utility fees on non-utility generation. They are helping to improve the reliability of the grid, reduce emissions, and smog-forming pollutants. They are doing their part. We support this bill and respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Did you want to make some comments? Yes, please.
Sylvia Solis-Shaw on behalf of Advanced Energy Economy in strong support of the bill. AEE is a national association of business leaders who are making the energy system more secure, clean, and affordable. We encompass a broad range of products and services that constitute the best available technologies for meeting energy needs today and in the future. We believe that the increased use of advanced energy technologies is not only good for the environment, but it translates directly into economic benefits. Last week, we released a California jobs report that shows an increase in 18% compared to last year in advanced energy jobs. which is roughly 6 times the rate of overall state job growth. So it's a very strong sector, and we believe this bill will help lead to further increases. In addition, this AEE also supports more in-state suppliers compared to advanced energy economies in other states, which leads to a robust network of in-state vendors and suppliers, which means that more of the economic benefits remain local. AEE believes AB 1530 is another piece that will contribute to the state's continued support and growth of advanced energy generation technologies that will lead to a clean, secure, affordable energy future and will result in overall benefits to the state economy. We also appreciate the author and his staff working with us on amendments to the bill, which we understand will be taken as the bill moves out of committee today. We ask for your support.
Thank you. Did you want to make some comments?
Yes, if I may.
Brief,
All right.
please.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. My name is Adam Simpson. I'm a co-founder of AdaGen, a fast-growing startup located in Menlo Park. I'm pleased to support AB 1530, and I thank Assemblymember Levine for his effort on this very important policy. We're developing a brand-new technology that is going to offer customers clean, affordable, and reliable on-site power generation. We started here in California based on our research from Stanford. We'd like to grow, install, and manufacture here in California. We're actually here in California because a lot of the vision and policies that you guys have helped promote over your time in service. However, these utility fees, the status quo utility fees applied to electricity not purchased from the grid, make it prohibitively expensive to do business here in California. In fact, these fees are the equivalent of adding 75 to 100% additional sales tax on our equipment. Very tough to do business with that. But the policies, the technologies that this policy supports helps provide power and electricity generation where it's needed, and then create jobs throughout the state. This technology also reduces the demand on the centralized grid, which reduces rates for all ratepayers, specifically for this bill, especially for residential ratepayers because of the provisions in the bill. So for these reasons, I strongly support Assemblymember Levine's acceptance of the amendments, and I thank your committee for their time. And thank you.
Thank you.
Respectfully,
Do we have any other support? Any other support? Any opposition?
Oh, we're the support. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Julie Malinowski Ball on behalf of Capstone Turbines. We're a California company manufacturing in the San Fernando Valley, and we're supporting this bill because it opens up the market so we can do more business in our home state, and we appreciate the author's efforts on this.
Mr. Chairman, members, Bill Kraus representing Solar Turbines and Caterpillars, both manufacturers of combined heat and power technologies, in strong support of the bill. Thanks.
Chair and members, Erin Grizzard with Bloom Energy, California headquartered manufacturer with 1,000 California employees in strong support.
Good morning, Chris Rosa on behalf of the Silicon Valley Leadership Group in support of the bill. Thanks.
Matt Klopfenstein on behalf of Enline Energy, Inc., a small hydro developer based in El Dorado Hills in support. Thank you.
Okay, opposition time. We can make some room here up front for the...
Mr. Chairman and members, Scott Wetch on behalf of the California Coalition of Utility Employees, here in opposition to this bill. It's a bill that's been before this committee a number of times. We couldn't disagree more with the author and the sponsors. This bill runs completely counter to AB 32 and to SB 350. It provides enormous financial incentives for large industrial polluters like refineries and cement companies to build fossil generators on site instead of clean renewable power, which is required under SB 350. It depletes the RPS because it displaces power that would be purchased from the utility, which is green, 100% greenhouse gas free, and allows them with state financing to build dirtier fossil-based generation in communities typically that are economically disadvantaged and are communities of color. So we're going to take industrial polluters, give them financial support from the state to not buy the renewable 100% GHG-free power from the utility, but to build fossil-based generators in those communities that can least afford it. And we're going to spread the cost of that to all of your other ratepayers. Small businesses, medium-sized businesses can subsidize Chevron and Shell so they can meet a greenhouse gas AB 32 requirement, which they have to meet anyway. It's just patently unfair. And to the witness that said it's unfair for the utility to collect for the maintenance of the distribution system, let's use Chevron and Shell in the East Bay as an example. PG&E has invested millions of dollars of ratepayer money into building infrastructure to deliver that huge load to those refineries. Substations and other infrastructure that would not be necessary but for the fact that those refineries are drawing so much energy. Now, under this bill, they can build on-site generation and reduce their standby charges to a fraction of what they would have been. Well, who's going to maintain that infrastructure? Constituents of Senator Wolk and Senator McGuire will pay for that cost. So for those reasons, we would urge a no vote.
Nick Pappas on behalf of Southern California Edison. I want to echo the comments of Mr. Wetch. It's a pleasure to be back speaking on this bill. This bill, a similar proposal or the same proposal, has failed in the Assembly and the Senate at least 5 times since 2013, so it's a pleasure to be back speaking about it today. We've heard some terminology today such as inappropriate utility fees. And this is a really complex issue, and I want to give credit to the committee staff for trying to clarify the many different facets of this. But for Southern California Edison specifically, and I think a very similar situation applies for the other utilities, the inappropriate utility fees referred to today fund 2/3 of those fund public purpose programs. The bulk of public purpose programs fund the CARE program, that's low income rate assistance. The other significant chunk of that, those funds fund energy efficiency funds, our energy efficiency programs. The last third of the inappropriate utility fees are the bond payments we're currently paying to the Department of Water Resources to pay off the loans they entered into during the energy crisis. So these inappropriate utility fees are actually state mandated programs that we're happy to continue providing, but that we feel all customers should participate in the cost in sharing the costs of. To elaborate on Mr. Wetch's point, under current law, if you're a commercial or industrial electric customer, you can today go out and pursue a fuel cell. You can get a Bloom Energy fuel cell or CHP or an Edigen microturbine, and we continue to collect these inappropriate utility fees that fund all of our environmental and social policies. Those customers are then getting or could get up to 100% of their electricity from natural gas fuel cells, natural gas microturbines, or natural gas CHP. This bill is specifically not targeted at renewable energy, which is taken care of under the net metering program, and specifically for non-renewable technology. So not only under this bill are those customers leaving the increasingly renewable electric grid to be all or mostly fossil fuel natural gas generation, this bill essentially is saying, let's also give these customers a pass on supporting the state's ambitious environmental policies and low-income programs. So it's a little bit ironic to me today to hear that this bill is a complement to SB 350 when these customers are essentially asking to be exempt from the funds we'll need to double our energy efficiency savings, and we'll also no longer be purchasing renewable energy on their behalf. So 100 megawatts of customers who leave and install natural gas fuel cells on site. In 2030, that's 50 megawatts, 50% by 2030 of renewable energy we as utilities won't be procuring on their behalf. I ask for your no vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Michael Shaw with California Manufacturers and Technology Association. We're in a opposed unless amended position, and I think many of the issues have been discussed quite clearly. The primary point for us is we have a number of members who have already installed CHP, combined heat and power systems, at their facilities and are able to more efficiently use the natural gas that is required as a part of their process. And that's anything from creating steam necessary for food packaging, processing, production of paper products, and also transportation fuels in the state. So the use of a combined heat and power system really is energy efficiency at its heart. It's not increasing the use of fossil fuels, it's actually decreasing, or more efficiently, I should say, using what they do need to have for a variety of other purposes at their facility. So we believe that equal treatment between those facilities that have already done this, prior to the implementation date of this bill, and those that do it afterwards should be equal, should not be discriminated against simply based on when they did it. The impact of this for those facilities is a bit of insult to injury, in effect, because what happens is those customers who are in the same rate class will end up carrying the non-bypassable charges that are being put off by those who then pursue that technology after the implementation date of this bill. We believe that if it's a good policy to do this, that we should treat those folks equally regardless of when they did it. In fact, I would argue that those who installed, say, a CHP system prior to the implementation date of this bill have actually done more for the state in terms of reducing energy load in this state, consequently putting downward pressure on our environmental impacts in terms of GHGs. And they should be recognized and credited for that, at least at a minimum, by equal treatment under the provisions of this bill. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. Davina Flemings on behalf of Pacific Gas and Electric. I'd like to associate myself with the comments raised by my colleagues at Southern California Edison, but I just want to reiterate that this bill imposes a cost shift that is significant. It could range anywhere between $15 million to $34 million annually to customers that do not participate in this program. And it definitely runs counter to the state goals that we have established here in the legislature. As Mr. Wetch mentioned, 50% RPS, AB 32. We strongly believe that we should not be incentivizing these companies on the backs of other customers. Many of these companies enjoy an incentive already through the self-generation incentive program at the PUC. They've received hundreds of millions of dollars in incentives. So again, how much longer are we going to continue to subsidize these companies on the backs of our customers? So I urge your no vote.
Alicia Priego with San Diego Gas and Electric, and we also share the similar concerns as the utilities and other witnesses in opposition. I think just putting this in the most simple terms, the fee is called non-bypassable, and that was established because all ratepayers should be paying into these important state-mandated programs. And just to give some perspective in SDG&E's territory, if 100 megawatts were to be exempt under this proposal, that would lead to approximately $33 million that would be shifted to other ratepayers in our territory. So there are significant costs associated with this. Thank you.
Anyone else in opposition?
Good morning, Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the Utility Reform Network. TURN, we are opposed to the bill. I think for the reasons previously stated, we're concerned that this bill would create an exemption for dirty gas fired, fuel cells and turbines. And these non-bypassable charges are critical, especially to provide discounts to low-income individuals. The CPUC, in its recent decision related to rooftop solar, kind of grappled with a similar issue and really stood by the principle that these non-bypassable charges have to be preserved. We think this bill is inconsistent with that principle. For those and many other reasons, we're opposed.
Thank you. I think the testimony in opposition to the bill is very compelling. We definitely have enough information to suggest that, this industry is very important. It's very important to our state. I think ratepayers have made a considerable investment. And much like how we supported Senator Hertzberg's bill on these businesses that are struggling on the one end, doing that would be similar for this industry. However, Senator Hertzberg's bill is advocating more for, non-emission generation, where this has some emission, and that's where I have some heartburn. But I think this is an important industry. Therefore, I think there is some room to at least allow you to work to see how you can allow that industry to stay in California, maybe to gain a footing, without necessarily pushing other clean renewables out of the market. We don't want this to result in pushing clean energy out of the market. In the meantime, we thought the only amendments we could suggest to allow you to keep working on this issue is to specify that the greenhouse emission standard is to be set at the same rate as the CPUC's self-generation incentive program. The standard that was set was in place in January 1st of 2016, as well as the other amendments described in the analysis, which would be that the state and the non-renewable clean DER must meet the entirety of Section 9423 of the California Code of Regulations, not just the NOx standard, but that the bill currently requires. It also would limit its requirement to the 3 largest IOUs, and it also would better define what is meant by customer class. It directs the author to work with committee staff to define that term a little bit more, and we'll work with you on that. It also deletes in its entirety the Public Resources Code 354C, which directs the CPUC in consultation with the CEC and ARB to promote the deployment of clean DER. Those are the amendments we're asking at this time. But there are still a lot of questions that the committee is not prepared to deal with right now regarding any potential cost shifts, how this affects other renewables, and for that reason, we want to stay engaged with you and work with you in the through the process. This doesn't, for now, this is. We want to work with you until this bill gets to the floor in the Senate. If it's not where it is, we might change our position at that time. But for now, we want to give a colleague the opportunity to work for a matter that affects your district very much, and I understand that. And for that reason, we want to work with you. So if you want to make any closing comments.
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm very grateful for your leadership on this and helping to me as an author reach the environmental goals that I have. And so without the work of your staff and your vision for this, I probably wouldn't be able to meet the high target that I have for what we can do for the state of California. California businesses have heard the message, clean up your act. And many are choosing to do so by addressing their energy portfolios. They're willing to invest their own private funds in technologies that provide an economical alternative to the grid and clean on-site power that meets their consumption and reliability needs. AB 1530 will allow them to continue doing so, allowing large energy users such as data centers and hospitals to take advantage of clean distributed generation technologies. This is the grid of the future. I am definitely, as I mentioned, as I opened, accepting amendments, and we'll continue to work with you and the committee on this bill as it moves forward. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? Senator Leyva.
Good morning. I have a lot of questions as well. I have a lot of concerns. Specifically, in the opposition, one of the comments is that it unfairly shifts costs that are rightfully the responsibility of all ratepayers, erodes the base financial support for important public purpose programs, and violates the principles of the state's clean energy laws by subsidizing electricity sources that are dirtier than preferred energy resources. I was just wondering how you would answer that.
So we worked really hard with stakeholders to figure out what that number is. And we heard some numbers just now on what it is, but we really couldn't come to any concrete numbers. The analysis also worked to reach towards that and said that the cost shift would be minimal. I think what's important to me, 2 things. One is it's a minimal cost shift. The other one is, no one on a program like CARE is going to have an increased cost because of this. And so that was, just from my heart, really important, that no one who's struggling is going to have increased costs.
And Wood, we heard a lot about dirtier fossil fuels being used. How do you answer that?
It's comical that I would author legislation that would create, dirty emissions.
So it's completely false? There's
nothing's going to be dirtier. It's going to be meet ARB standards or higher, which are updated annually. So it's only going to get stricter and cleaner from my perspective, and I wouldn't author legislation that did anything otherwise.
Okay. In my limited knowledge of how these fuel cells work, I thought that there was gas that's used, but no?
So, there are emissions, and I'd let the technical expert talk about it, but always at ARB levels or a stricter standard.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Simpson.
Yes. So the way that this bill is written, it's technology neutral. So as long as you meet the standard that the ARB specifies as cleaner than the grid, then any technologies can apply. That includes natural gas, but also includes biogas technologies or geothermal technologies. So just as long as you meet that threshold that you're cleaner, that according to ARB, then you would qualify.
I am not going to support the bill today, but I look forward to seeing some of the changes, and I hope that I'll be support on the floor.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Senator Pavley. We'll take the motion as soon as we hear finalized testimony. Senator Gaines?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair Wayso. I'm concerned about the passing on of bond obligation. Okay, so if there's stranded debt that we've had historically that's being paid for through the fees with the PUC, why should certain entities be exempt of that?
That's a good question.
And why should that burden be carried by others?
So exemptions already exist in law. So that they're already exempted classes. So this does exist now. With AB 1530, ratepayers would still be paying into those funds for energy procured by traditional methods, and so they would still be paying in that situation.
Okay, so for outstanding bond obligations, they would pay under your legislation?
For electricity that they procure traditionally.
Okay, all right. And then the other aspect of the cost of, looks like there were some subsidized costs for social programs, environmental related, non-renewable. How are those addressed?
Very similarly, for energy procured traditionally, they will be paying into those funds.
Okay. And is there a cost shift to other businesses?
So the cost shift occurs within a class. As Chairman Wayso had mentioned, we're going to work with the committee to determine, language to make sure that shift is within a very specific class. And again, to the point that I made to Senator Leyva, that the shift will not occur to other people outside that class. So people struggling to make their payments aren't going to have a cost shift because they're outside the class.
Okay, well, I'm worried about other entities within the class. So
that's right. And so the analysis stated that cost shift would be minimal. And
okay, well, I still have a problem with that because
Sure.
I don't know why there should be any cost shift. Why should other businesses have to pay a higher rate? Let's say I'm a small business owner. Am I going to experience a cost shift as a result of another entity that has self-generation on site?
no one has been able to quantify what that would be, but that it would be minimal.
Okay, I can't support that. If it changes by the time it gets to the floor, I'll take another look at it, but thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gaines.
First of all, thank the chair for trying to figure out a way to accomplish some of the objectives without harming ratepayers and everything else in the scheme. And also, my understanding is it will be several weeks till this bill gets to, it's double referred to
That's right.
environmental quality, but it'll be several weeks according to my staff, and hopefully that gives the author the time to work with your staff and whoever
Right, and if
else.
it's not where it is, I mean.
Yes,
We'll
and so there
inform.
is a nice block of time where we're not having to have the hearing like the next day
That's
or
right.
something like that, and you can always call it back if
I
you so
assure you
choose.
that, absolutely.
So
we
I'll
have-
move the bill.
And that's
We have a
fine.
motion.
Very good, thank you.
We have a motion. We're going to just call the vote on the bill now, if that's okay, unless you have something that's.
I was just going to echo what the senator was saying, is that I do believe that there's an opportunity to be able to make amends, and I do appreciate the chairman working on this. And if not up to where the committee's at, can always call that back as well, if need be.
You have my commitment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chair,
Senator Wilk?
I'd like to echo the concerns that have been raised and look forward to the authors working on this.
Thank you. Perfect. Clerk, please call the roll.
Do pass as amended to the Senate Environmental Quality Committee. Whistle?
Aye.
Whistle, aye. Morel? Canella? No. Canella, no. Gaines? No. Gaines, no. Hertzberg? Hill? Aye. Hill, aye. Laura? Leyva? No. Leyva, no. McGuire? Aye. McGuire, aye. Pavley? Pavley, aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye. So it needs one
Call
more.
the absent members again.
Hertzberg? Laura?
Okay, we're going to hold the roll open for absent members.
Oh, Morel, no.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members.
3, 4, 5, 4. So it needs one more.
We're going to move on to Senator Pavley.